Hi guys, my name is Nonema Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's continue listening to Ramsipile and talking about what he did with his submissions. Oh, the heads of arguments, guys. I cannot. Okay, now the arguments, his first one was, as I already said in the previous video, he dealt with Ujad Rata. He came for him, jabbing at Judge Rata for allowing state to do up and down in that podium. By one moment it's Baloyi, one moment it's Sibanda, one moment, what is this? What are you guys doing? So the first thing that he dealt with was change of state counsel. Counsel begins by noting that Advocate Sibanda initially appeared to be arguing the issue, but Advocate Baloyi is now doing so. He raises the Dr. Death decision as a caution concerning a witness's engagement with parties and clarity about who is acting against him. The second argument that Ramsipile touched on, the CDR's concern a deceased person. The state wants to confront Mr. Mncube with cold data records allegedly belonging to Mr. Mabungunduli, who is deceased. Thirdly, the defense has not properly seen the evidence. A major procedural complaint is that counsel is effectively being required to argue in vacuum. The defense has allegedly not been properly furnished with the actual CDR material before the arguments. And then number 4, Section 205 does not automatically solve admissibility. The state says the records were obtained under Section 205. The defense argument is that obtaining information under Section 205 and proving its evidential admissibility are two different things. Number 5, Mohapi is presented as the decisive authority. Counsel relies heavily on the Thabo Mohapi, and others' full bench decision, arguing that it sets out the jurisdictional and foundational requirements that must be satisfied before the records can be used in the manner proposed. Number 6, ECTA Section 15 of 4 is challenged. The defense says the state selectively relies on the mere production aspect of Section 15 of 4, while allegedly overlooking the requirement concerning certification of the copy by an appropriate employee or officer. Number 7, the central distinction, confrontation versus proof. This is the heart of the argument. The state can potentially show a document to Mncube and challenge his version. But if the state wants the court to conclude that the document contents are factually true, the document must first satisfy the rules of admissibility and a proper evidential foundation must be laid. Now, Ramsipile put it effectively: if the state merely asks Mncube, what do you say about this document? This is that one. That is one issue. But if the state wants the judge to find Mabungundulu definitely called accused number 3 at 2019, like 2019 PM, because the CDR says so, then the state is no longer merely confronting a witness. It is asking the court to accept the truth of the contents of the record that requires proper proof. Now, his arguments matters, Gesana, he was just eating them up, guys. The defense is essentially trying to stop a potential backdoor admission of evidence. The state cannot, according to this argument, avoid normal evidential requirements simply by saying it is cross-examination or confrontation. If the ultimate purpose is to have the court accept the CDR entries as true, the argument is building towards a conclusion. Confront him if you are legally entitled to do so, but you cannot treat the contents of the document as proven unless you first satisfy the requirements for proving those contents. Now, Ramsipile was like, guys, you should have seen his face. You should have seen his face. He was screaming, I am prepared for this war. He was screaming, I am prepared for this, or let's listen to him just a bit. We don't have to listen to everything at once, but please hear him here, because what do you mean Ramza came guns blazing like that? I just want us to hear him when he comes for the matters before court.
Issues that are before court, my lord. At paragraph 8 and paragraph 1 thereof, we say that the state seeks to confront Mr. Mncube with the call data records, which are called CDRs of Mr. Mabungu Ntuli, who is now the deceased. And the state says they obtained these call data records in terms of section 205 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977.
Why?
High quality ingredients made with cream.
Sorry.
51 of 1977. Now, what I'm going to submit is the following, my lord. That the state has not laid the evidential foundation required for the admission of call data records as real evidence. Nor has it complied with the procedural and substantive requirements of the Law of Evidence Amendment Act 45 of 1988 for any content attributed to or dependent upon the said Mabungu Ntuli, who's deceased. And I must put a rider on my head, my lord, to say we are arguing this in vacuum. As we are arguing now, especially myself, I've never had sight of the call data records that the state seeks to confront the witness with. We were told on Tuesday that we should bring our memory sticks, and then they can be inserted in that memory sticks for us to go and have a look at them. But I haven't done that, and I don't think Mr. Mnisi does have it. I just saw from the document that Mr. Numalo has in front of him, it's got it, and I'll address it towards the end of my head as well, my lord. That aspect again. Now, that paragraph 2, we say the defense objects to the use of the call data records for the truthfulness of the contents thereof, insofar as the credibility thereof depends on the deceased Mr. Mabungu Ntuli. And furthermore, we say, my lord, we object on the basis of non-disclosure and procedural unfairness. And I'll show that procedural unfairness when I deal with, my lord will know that I've handed a copy of Heads of Argument and Hot of the Press, my lord. I've got the most recent case that deals squarely with the issue that we are grappling with. The case of Thabo Mohapi and others. That's a full bench emanating from the South Gauteng High Court, my lord. And I'm going to submit in my final submissions, my lord, that case is binding on this honorable court because of the stare decisis principles that we follow, my lord. Now, on the question at paragraph 3 of my Heads of Argument, my lord, I want to stress this, and let that be not misconstrued from Ramos Sepeli on behalf of Mr. Ntanzi, and in particular on behalf of all the accused persons, because I'm arguing on behalf of everybody here. I did not say the state is not entitled to confront Mr. Mncube with what they want to confront him with. But what we are saying, there are certain jurisdictional factors that must be met before we decide whether this is real evidence, whether this is documentary evidence. And the case of Mohapi, my lord, I'm going to quote extensively thereof. It makes that distinction very clear, and it lays down the jurisdictional requirements that must be met before Mr. Mncube is confronted with the printouts that are supposed to be Section 205 emanating from the Cleveland 96 of 2015 case, my lord. And we submit, my lord, towards the end of paragraph 3 that on the facts of this case, the requirements that are in Mohapi for the admission of the call data records have not been met. And then to run to section 15.4 of ECTA, the Electronics Communications and Transactions Act 25 of 2002 does not assist the state, and I'll show the court why I say so. Because the state, when it was addressing on this thing, on this ECTA, it only singled out one aspect and says, this is the most decisive. Whilst it is, there's another one that is decisive, because the state stressed the mere motive production of a document in terms of the act as being a decisive, the mere production. But section 15.4 further says that production must be a certified production of that copy by an employee or an officer from the cell phone company. So we haven't been shown the certification, but then these are just the arguments at the beginning, my lord. I'll delve deep into those arguments, and perhaps, my lord, at the end I'll make submissions that are very cogent to say the state is allowed to confront Mr. Mncube, but the state must first go and do as Mohapi says.
Guys, I don't want the video to be too long. We're going to continue doing videos when it comes to the arguments of Ramsipile, because damn, he did something spectacular there. And I like how the defense is daring Judge Rat. We dare you. Allow them to use it. Yabona, when he's mentioning this Mohapi case, he is making sure Judge Rat understand you are forbidden. Uti, it is binding to this court. It is binding to this court. Guys, if Judge Ratta gives the state the leeway to actually use these documents, I don't know. I actually don't know what Judge Ratta wants, because Ramsipile dealt with this thoroughly, and when Ramsipile came prepared, he had all the guns. He had all the, like, he fired Gadli, guys. The name Gadla, we give it to Ramsipile. In fact, that is why I call him Justice Ramsipile, because what? Those arguments, I don't know if Ramsipile are preparing arguments like this for matters like this. I don't know what's going to happen when it is the final arguments, the closing arguments of the case itself. And yes, because yes. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts when it comes to Ramsipile and his brilliant submissions and properly put the presentation itself was out of this world? I want to hear from you. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.